Tonight, somewhere in the world, someone will blow out candles on a cake. They will make a wish, and for a brief moment, they will feel like something important is happening. But here's the strange truth most people never stop to think about. For most of human history, your birthday was not special. In fact, for thousands of years, it didn't even matter. So where did this idea come from? And what did ancient humans actually do when they marked the passage of a year of life? To understand that, we have to go back. Back to a time before birthdays were celebrations, and when they were something far more symbolic and powerful. The earliest recorded birthday celebrations were not for ordinary people at all, but for gods and kings. In ancient Egypt, around 3000 BCE, pharaohs were believed to be divine beings, and something interesting happened during their coronation. Egyptians didn't see it as a birth into life, but as a birth into divinity. So the birthday was not the day you were born. It was the day you became powerful enough to matter. And then, by ancient Greece around 400 BCE, something new appears. Greeks began honoring the goddess Artemis on her birthday, but they didn't celebrate human birthdays the way we do now. Instead, they offered round cakes shaped like the moon, lit candles to represent lunar glow, and prayers wrapped in smoke and fire. The first birthday cake was not dessert. It was a symbol of light and darkness. And blowing out the candles wasn't celebration. It was communication. Because smoke rising upward was believed to carry messages to the divine. Then, by the Roman Empire in the 1st century, BCE onward, birthdays became slightly more personal, but not equal. Romans celebrated emperors, senators, and military leaders, while women's birthdays were often ignored in public life, and ordinary people rarely had documented birthdays at all. Most Romans didn't even know their exact date of birth because time was not personal. It belonged to the empire. In ancient societies, people tracked life differently through seasons, harvest cycles, religious festivals, and reigns of kings. Your birth was not the beginning of your identity. It was just one small biological event inside a much larger cosmic cycle. In many early societies, especially in parts of Europe and Asia, people remembered death anniversaries more than birth, because death was seen as transition, and birth was only arrival into uncertainty. Then came the medieval era in Europe, roughly 5th to 15th century, and birthdays almost disappeared completely as the church shifted focus to saints' feast days, baptism days, and religious calendars. Instead of asking, "When were you born?" people asked, "Which saint protects you?" Your identity was not anchored in birth. It was anchored in protection from above, and birthdays became spiritually irrelevant, even suspicious, because celebrating the self too much was seen as arrogance. But then, slowly, something begins to change. Around the 15th to 17th century during the Renaissance, the idea of the individual starts to return. Diaries appear, portraits become common, personal time begins to exist, and slowly, birthdays return, but only for elites at first. The modern birthday we know today, cake, candles, singing, gifts, parties, did not exist for most of human history. It only becomes widespread in the 18th and 19th centuries, and truly global in the 20th century, with industrial printing of calendars, standardized school systems, and companies like Hallmark commercializing celebration culture in the early 1900s. Suddenly, time becomes personal, and personal time becomes emotional. And if you strip away the candles, the cake, the songs, what is left? Just a single moment of awareness. You are still here. That is what ancient humans never had a fixed ritual for, because survival left no space for self-reflection. Birthdays are not ancient tradition. They are a modern invention for something very ancient inside us, the need to mark existence before it disappears again. And so every year, when you sit in front of a cake and everyone sings and the room becomes quiet for a second before you blow out the candles, you are participating in something ancient in feeling, but modern in origin. A ritual not of gods, not of kings, but of something even more fragile, the human awareness of time passing through itself.